This is the podcast overview for week 11, where we will be covering chapter 11, the nature and symptoms of pain. So here is your to-do list for this week. If you'd like to take a listen to the podcast objectives for the chapter, they are here. You can click right here and I'll go through each one in a little more detail and give you some information based on what to be expecting for the chapter. Your lecture slides are included here, and I also included the McGill Pain Scale, just so that you could get a sense of what this scale is like. You'll see it referenced in the lecture slides, so feel free to do this on your own according to your most recent pain experience. I'm not collecting this, but what you can do is just kind of look at that and just use it as a tool to understanding how pain is measured, and that will be helpful. Your discussion for this week has to do with the longevity chapter, and the longevity chapter is all about religion, religiosity, spirituality, and health. So if we go back up here, it's long life meets the afterlife, religion and health, and it's also chapter 11. So you're going to be taking an assessment, again, just like usual, scoring yourself and then interpreting that score. And then you're going to go ahead and answer the questions based on the termites. So how was religious involvement defined and assessed in the Terman study? Was there anything missing in assessing one's religious involvement? Because remember, this study was done, over the course of several decades. Do you see anything that could have been assessed when it comes to one's religious beliefs, practices, that perhaps wasn't? How then did religion factor into health and the longevity of the Terman participants? So again, I'm looking for examples here of how did they fare. Tell me who, use those examples, and how might the habits and practices associate with being religious positively affect one's health. So any habits and practices that are associated with being religious, how that is defined by the Terman project. How does that positively affect one's health? What are the positive aspects of it? And then I want you to look at the questions you answered in the assessment about your religious experience and think not about your overall score, but how you got that score. Depending upon how you answered certain items and according to the research, how might this affect your overall health or positive outcomes in life? And I realize we live in an age that's kind of all over the place when it comes to religion. Be thinking about the Terman participants, mostly clustered in a Judeo-Christian sort of cohort. We certainly had others outside of that, but this was the cohort mainly that was studied. So looking at that religious involvement that accompanied that specific subset of people, but you can transfer that onto any other religious subset, whether it's Buddhist or whether it's Muslim. You can take that and you can look at the practices of those religions and use them to gauge, your own assessment, if those are your faith paths that you follow. So interesting stuff here, and there's been a lot of work done on spirituality and health and religion and health, particularly in the area of coping. Okay, so it'll be interesting for you to see how religion and having religious beliefs and belief in a higher power can help in the coping process, whether it's coping with stress, loss, grief, pain, illness, all of that. So that wraps up this week in terms of what to expect. Please let me know if you have any questions about the content or about this week or what to do. And I will be happy to answer that. Thanks, everyone.